Boom.
Hello, you can see my hands do the talking with my little circle over here. Um, so I'm Annette. I've been working with 6 Feet Up for a couple years now. I've been in the Python world for about 10 years now. And I also have a slew of other hobbies of things that I like to do in my spare time. And I just like learning new skills. So I'm really excited to be able to share some of the origami with you. Calvin's very generous calling me a master. I think I'm really good at following directions and parroting those to other people. But hopefully,
And Annette is no joke. The number of hobbies she has is incredible. So if you are having an interest in something, run it by her. She might know.
Thanks, Calvin. But yeah, so at least hopefully I can lead you through this tutorial and you'll come out with a cute new version of Pete the Python. I don't have last year's version here. I have a pack of them though in my living room somewhere. There we go. Calvin's got last year's version. This year I want to step it up just a half notch. Still relatively simple, but instead we're going to do a little swirly guy of Pete the Python who can make his journey onto the world wherever he needs to go. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about paper. If you have origami paper, that's great. That's probably going to be the easiest. Not everybody has origami paper, me included today. My stash is somewhere and I'm not sure where, but there's different types of paper that you can use. And I will warn you, particularly because this has a couple more folds, thick papers will be harder. So this here is actually newspaper print. It's a pretty thin, let me see if I have one. It's kind of a thin paper. You can kind of maybe see by how it flaps. It's thinner, maybe you can't. I've also tried construction paper. Construction paper is kind of thick and you can tell by when I crease it. If you can see, there's like a little bit of a shadow here. Or more so, if you can see from the side, when I fold it, it doesn't really fold super flat. That's because it's thicker. This would be a hard paper to work with. I have a piece with construction paper, and you can see the folds are much stiffer than this guy over here. But for today's tutorial, I've decided to go with something that most people will have in their house, maybe in this day and age. Just a good old piece of notebook paper. It's like a really nice thin sheet of paper. It's going to be the easiest to fold. And here's an example with notebook paper that you have. This nice springy guy. So aside from paper, the other thing you'll need is some type of marker or a pen if you want to draw eyes on your piece later on. And you can even hashtag PWC 2023 when you're done. And if you can post the results, that would be really fun. All right.
Post where Pete is.
Yes. So that getting started, let me open up my screen. I just want to make sure I can see everybody for the most part. There we go. And does everyone have a piece of paper or is equipped with what they need to get started? Awesome. Okay, you see my hands? Okay. So I'm going to kind of go slowly. I'm going to go over some steps, maybe multiple times to kind of help you through. And just if you've got questions, just feel free to shout them out, put them in chat. I'm sure somebody will catch it between all of us and let's get started.
Chat it or just interrupt or unmute or it's a social.
Yes. So first,
your paper doesn't look square, Annette.
Exactly. And that's exactly where we're going to start. When you're doing origami, you definitely want square paper. But most people won't have a square to begin with if they're not prepared. So you can easily make a piece of square paper. So this is just an 8.5 by 11. I'm using a bigger sheet so that you can see it on camera better, and white contrasts with the green so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is actually, since this is the edge I ripped out, these are my straight edge edges right here. I'm going to take this corner and fold a triangle so that this corner is right nice and sharp and these edges line up right at the edge here. Once I've got that held down, I'm going to smooth that out and make a nice crease. Keep that nice and creased. So once I've got this fold done, so I took this, folded it down so that these edges meet, made a triangle. I have this little piece that's still stuck off. This is the part I need to get rid of. So I'm going to fold this up right against where this line is, right here. So I'm going to fold that up as far as it goes. This will be in a line still. And smooth this out all the way across. So now I have a cute sailboat. And now with this edge here, just to make sure it's easier to rip, I'm going to rip this instead of cutting it. A rip will stay along that line I made. A cut, I might swerve off the edge. So I like to just go ahead and do that. So I had this before, like this, with the fold on this side. I'm going to turn it over, fold it back the other way. And remember, this is only if you don't have a square piece. If you have a square, you're already a step ahead of me, so you don't need to do this part. So now that I've got this piece of paper here, I should be able to just rip it. So I'm going to put it with the folded side down. I'm going to put my fingers right at the top here and just get a tiny tear. And once I have a tear going, I'm going to keep my hand right here. So this is my line. And just carefully rip down the side of the paper. So now I've got a perfect triangle. And I have a square. All right, so now at this point, does everyone have a square piece of paper? Awesome. I see a fancy hat as well amongst this. Great. All right, so now we've got the square piece of paper. So if you have a square that's unfolded, the first step you're going to do is make the triangle like we had before. So you're going to fold corner to corner. You want to line them up close.
Should the color be outside or inside?
The color should be, let me double check that. I believe outside for this fold, yes.
Okay.
And that's the thing, origami paper tends to have a white side and a colorful side. So we'll do color outside. And hopefully I remembered that correctly. Either way, you'll have two colors, a little bit of your snake. All right, so we've got the basic fold, everyone. Awesome. Now we're going to open that back up. And now what we're going to do, and I have it this way purposely, is we're going to fold this into the center. So I'm going to do this slowly first, and then you can follow along. So what I like to do is I like to hold right in the corner with my finger to help get a sharp corner here. And then this side of the paper here, I want to fold this in a straight line. So I'm going to take this corner, fold a point. Now the key is you don't want to go over the line, just right up to the line, but not over. You'll have a harder time if you overlap it. So then I like to hold my corners, get the corner straight. I usually hold the edge and like lightly crease it. And then I run my finger down the line to get it really flat. Now you'll want to really make sure you run your fingers over these lines a couple of times. Get it nice and flat. It'll be a lot easier for you later on if you get it flat. So I ran my finger over it 3 or 4 times. So now we've got this part. We're going to do the same thing with this edge here. I like to put my finger at the top. And this side here, we're going to fold it into the center. So I get it right about to the center there. Let's recenter this so you can kind of see it better. And once I've got in the right spot, make sure I got a crease. And then once again, run your finger over it a couple of times. So you got a good point. So you'll have a little kite. Now I'm going to turn this kite this way and just make sure that this point is sharp. So I just take the side of my thumb and just push straight out to the edge to make sure that's flat. All right, let me see your kites. Awesome, I see many lovely kites. Anyone need more time? All right. Okay. So now I'm gonna put my kite sideways again. My folds are to my left right now. This is to my right. We're gonna do the same thing again with this edge. I'm gonna fold it into the center. So now you're gonna start feeling the stress of the paper as you try and get this point to still be sharp. So I like to put my nail right here and kind of pull the paper as a whole. So I'll like start to fold it at the top, hold it, pinch it, and slide it down. And then once I get towards the middle, and remember, don't overlap. You want to keep it just to the side of the crease. I'll push down gently on both sides. And then if that looks good, I'll start to slide my finger to get a good sharp point. Like sometimes I'll just hold my thumb here and just slide out just to try and get it as even as I can right here. How are we doing with that fold? Okay, good. Now we're going to do the same thing with this edge up here. So the same thing, I put my nail right in the center. I like to kind of start here to get a start. Once I got the start at the top, and that's hard to see from this distance. Once I've got the top held down, kind of guide the rest of the paper. And then lay my hands out to each side and then sharpen that point. So now you should have an even pointier kite or a fancy ice cream cone. All right, how are we doing?
I could go for a fancy ice cream cone right now.
Like I can use a second here.
Sure, go ahead. Like if you ever have idle time, it never hurts to just keep flattening this out. I'll keep doing it until I'm satisfied. Now here, what I'm going to do just to make sure that we've gotten a good fold from now is just fold this in half. We're not going to keep it here for long. I'm going to fold it in half and make sure that this point is flattened out. This will tell you very quickly if you overlapped your lines earlier when you were folding them in. It might be a little tough here. But I find that doing this at this step helps make the next step a little bit easier. Now, we'll open it back up. That was just an extra crease to make sure it's easy. All right. We ready for the next step? Okay. Now, just one more time, we're going to fold this corner in to the center. This is the trickiest, hardest one. This is why I talked about paper in the beginning. If you have a thick paper, it's going to fight you at this point. So this is really where I do that thumb where I kind of crease at the beginning here. Get the crease started at the point, hold it down, kind of maybe go halfway, kind of slide my finger down and kind of set up the crease as I go. So you can see me, I'm starting at the top. I've got the point and I'm kind of sliding my finger down so the paper is not going to just fight. And once I feel like I have that in the right spot, then I'm going to push it down and get a good sharp fold. Then run your fingers along that fold you just made. And I mean, like really take your time, do it nice and slow. All right, how did that go for people?
It's tricky. Definitely getting tricky.
Yeah.
I'm definitely impressed with myself not having messed it up yet.
All right, so you've got that part.
I can still fold it in half.
You got to do it with the other side now. It's going to start getting really tight here. It's the same thing. I like to put my fingers right at the top here. Get the point started. Once the point is started, everything starts to fall into place. But if you don't get that point, you'll be miserable later, or you will be addressed with a challenge later on.
I'm dressed for the challenge. The optimism is incredible.
Mhm.
So like I slide my finger down a little bit as I go. And I just kind of keep my thumb inside and get that crease down. And once it's all set up, I run my fingers over both sides. This is a time where once you get the bottom done, you might want to slide your fingers out on that point again. Just make sure it's as flat as you can get
It's like a very tall gnome hat.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a fancy
Here.
nose.
There we go.
Oh,
Yes, you can
thinking-
be that unicorn you've always dreamed of.
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's like Rain's talk.
Yeah. Okay, does everyone have their sharp kite nose unicorn horn?
Mhm.
Yes.
Great. So at this point, I'm going to have you try and fold this in half again. We're not staying here, but we're going to fold it in half to see how well those folds went. And especially pay attention to this tail here. Make sure that gets a nice sharp fold. So once you've got that folded in half, if it worked, awesome. If it kind of worked, close enough. If it's a little tight, force it into submission. Because we're going to need this shape later on. And then you can open it back up to your nose horn hat. All right, where's everybody at? We there?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now here, and I'm right-handed, so I like to do my folds with my right hand. We're going to take this corner here and line up this edge with this edge. So I'm going to fold this edge here back so it's level with that edge. And I will actually put a piece of paper underneath this for contrast. So I'm going to fold this corner here back so it lines up with this edge. So it's almost like a shirt collar. I'm going to fold it back like a shirt collar here. So now when I remove this, you can see I folded this back. And I'll put this back in here just so you can see it. How I did this folded to here. So once you've got that, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Fold this corner so that this edge lines up with this edge. It's like folding a shirt collar back. And then we're going to push down both of those creases upwards. So we've got these two. You can see that there's still a pocket here. It's just that these are folded back.
I feel like I did something wrong.
All right, what step do you think?
I folded this back, but I think that was wrong.
Right now, so you just want, so where you have the your little cone
Yeah.
here, your
Uh-huh.
insert, you want to grab the inside of one of those folds and just fold that piece back.
Okay, I did do it wrong. Thank you.
So inside of the fold,
I believe in you.
the corner,
Thank you so much,
just that piece
Pam.
back. And you should have this kind of cone with a sleeve.
And it'll be tricolored. I mean, bicolored
Yeah.
if you're using the origami.
Paper.
Right there.
Okay.
All right. We got this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. The faces don't look completely confused. Oh, wait, we lost somebody. Was
Thumbs
that
down.
George, Catherine? You're muted, so I'm not sure where you may have gone astray.
I think
Still
maybe
can't
the
hear
mic-
you if you're
Yeah,
speaking.
her microphone on her headset might be muted.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if I
There.
put it down. I had to put it down. Okay, sorry, I'm not good at this. But it looks like one, I don't have any folds to the point to fold it in. And two, I don't know if I can get the point all seems to be off for me.
Okay, so did you get this part folded or?
Not that I'm not even sure I can get get up to that point.
Okay, what point are you at?
I'm restarting a third time, sorry.
Okay, well, maybe I can come back and help you along,
Okay.
once we get through this, because we're getting close, we're almost there. All right, so we got our collar. So this fold is going to be next. So you can kind of see like there's a line from here to here where these 2 points are. We're going to fold this nose over so it creases between those 2 lines. So we're going to fold this down, and you see my 1 point, my 2 points, and make like a little triangle in the center there. And you can leave some space here. This is one of the places where it doesn't need to be perfect. You just want to make sure you kind of get a nice flat snozzer between these 2 lines here, this triangle.
Snozzer's a nice word.
Yeah. And then for contrast, you can see where I just folded this over. All right, so we got up to that step.
Mhm.
Now we're actually going to fold this in half. So we're going to fold all of the folds we did into the center. So you should have no folds on the outside. It should be smooth on both sides.
Yeah, I could see where thick paper would be the end of you here.
Yeah. Like origami paper is naturally a thinner paper, and that's why you can do complex folds with it, where you can
Unless-
substitute other things, but it's a little trickier.
Yeah, unless you went with this shiny paper, which is a little more difficult.
Oh, I didn't give you the shiny paper warning. I gave Kelvin the shiny paper warning. You weren't in the chat yet where he's like, I have one foil part. And I said, maybe you should hold on for that until you perfect the folds.
That's next level.
Earn your way up to this to the foil paper.
I'm getting there.
All right. So we should all have this nice long cone again, where everything is on the inside. You shouldn't have folds on the outside. That's the key. Right. So right now I'm going to kind of roughly divide this into what would be about thirds. And I'm going to line this fold up. So I have this special grid because it's helpful for times like this. For our next fold, we want this to stay like a right angle. We want this to stay a triangle. I mean, yeah, I guess it's a triangle. A right angle. We want this to stay squared. So if I divide this into about 3, I'm going to fold this guy up away from the fold to make that triangle.
Oh, I like precise measurements, so this is gonna be stressful.
Yeah, and the key is you want this to be up away from the fold. If you do it the other way, the next step will be a challenge.
Oh, wow.
All right, so like this is one of those moments that this is the zen of origami, when you just roll your finger over that curve a couple of times. See how flat you can get it. You want this one to cooperate with you, especially, and you want like a nice fold here. Yeah,
I mean,
contrast that as well.
we want them all to cooperate with us.
Yes. All right, so now you've got fancy check mark. Good? All right, so now we're gonna, and I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around so that The most of the snake tail is in my hand. Now we're starting to see the pieces. And you should have a little diamond right here. And I'm actually just going to take this marker and lightly mark this out so you can see it. Does that show up on the camera at all?
Yeah.
Faintly.
Good. So it's this little diamond, and that should be along the folds that you just made from folding it up. I suggest you watch this one first. I'm going to probably do 2 or 3 ways to kind of show you how to do this, because what we're going to do is we want to pinch this up and push this back at the same time. So we're going to be pinching this
You're pinching and pushing.
and pushing it back. If it's hard to do that, something I suggest is go ahead and kind of bend it back on those folds already. So this is where I'll bend them both in, and this is the back of the snake. So this is solid. There's no fold on this side. But if you push these back and pinch them in, then it's a little bit easier to pinch this tail. And you see how that just came right up? So I'll do that one more time. This is the no fold side with the lines. If you just kind of fold each part of this back a little bit on that crease you made earlier. So I folded this one back, so that this is more pronounced. Then you can pinch the tail and lift this up. These pieces of paper here will fold back, and then you will have this shape. All right. Did everyone make that journey with me?
Yes.
Oh, my paper's green, so it's getting like blending in
On
with
your
my
green
green.
screen.
my green
Struggle
screen.
was real, but it did it.
That's probably the trickiest part. It seems like it would be easy to just pinch it and push it back, but your paper's going to fold you a little bit. So that's why I like to, if it's hard, that little trick, I think, gives you the step you really need to like just kind of pinch it back and not have to fight it. All right, so we've got another fancy check mark, but this time your folds are on the outside here. All right, do I got everybody?
Yes.
Or most of everybody? Okay, so now, remember that flap we folded down earlier that's in the front here?
Mhm.
This is not exact science, but we're gonna kind of pinch it and just pull it out a little bit. We're making the nose of our snake. So just a little bit, we're gonna pull it out and just flatten it out so we get more of a defined face. So that's not exact science. All I did was kind of pull it forward until I said, that's a cute face, and pulled it out. In my case, it turns out that I did it about a square again. All right, we got that?
Can you repeat the last part? The
Sure,
face?
with the face. All right, so I'm going to push my face back in. So this should have been flat. So if you see my line here, this is flat. And what I want to do is grab this and pull it out so it's not quite flat anymore. So this point will stick out just a little bit from the paper and then flatten it. So I'm just pulling out a little bit of a nose so we have a face. Did that work? Right. This is a great time to draw the eyes on. So if you've got a marker handy, I'm going to draw this big first. This is just a cute eye style that I like to do. If you draw, let me see if this will show up. You draw a big circle. That's really low. Let me try newspaper. I draw a big circle. Did that show up?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I draw a little circle inside. And I fill in my moon crescent. And then you get like very cute animal eyes. So that's how I'm going to draw the eye on my little snake. So right here on this flap that we pulled out, the little nose that we pulled out, It's a great time to draw your eye. So big circle, smaller circle inside. And I just shade in the crescent. If you don't feel like being that artistic, you can just draw a circle and fill it in. That's fine. I think it just gives your snake like a little extra glow and sparkle in its eyes.
If you have any googly eyes, you could just stick them on there.
That'll work too.
That'd be awesome. I just find a paint mark. It helps to have a million pens next to my desk because I have a little paint marker.
So now I've got my eyes. You're now really starting to see the snake, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to fold the tail. I'm going to try and fold this tail 4 times. If your paper is thick, maybe, no, I'll fold it 3 times. If your paper is really thick, fold it twice. So I'm going to think 1, 2, 3. So that means divide it into quarters. These are going to be my 3 folds. So I'm going to fold it back once, and that's going to be straight. So the folds at the bottom line up. Once I've got that, right about here where the snake body sticks out, I'm going to fold it back. You're going to be feeling that tension. I know I certainly am. There we go. And then you've got a little tail sticking out. You're going to fold this back one more time. Now you've got this stack of tail.
That's crazy how many layers are right there.
Yeah.
Can you do that one more time? I'm so sorry.
Sure. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. These are going to be my 3 folds. So my first finger here, I'm going to fold it in. Set the folds at the bottom are in a straight line. Right here under the snake body, I'm going to fold it back. So that this whole tail goes back again. And try and keep it as straight as you can. And I have this last little piece that I'll fold just about in line with what I had before. And I'll fold that back. So my tail is pointing this way if you were able to get 3 folds out of that.
Yes.
So now that I've got that, this is when you can stand your creature up. I'm gonna keep mine on the side so you can see it. But now this is a nice time you can just kind of push this face back, like just puff the face up a little bit more. And then you can stand up your Pete the Python.
I have made a snake.
I hope he doesn't eat me.
It's super cute, everybody.
I'll post my picture.
Yeah, take a picture.
Yeah.
Yes, please. You can write PWC. I'll do that with mine. A good spot to write it is probably on this tail. It's the flattest, easiest part. Where you can do hashtag PWC 2023.
Oh, I think I literally got my finger in the picture.
And you can take a picture and just post, where is your Pete coming from? Oh, we would love to see it. Oh, I see. Everyone's got such great. All right, how'd that go? Do we have mostly successes? Yes, I see the shiny eyes too. Doesn't it just give it just a little bit of like extra cuteness when you have that little white space or that little extra space in the eyes? Like I always like snakes like this too, because like they have motion, so you can like kind of, it's like minor playing with it. They can go places and do things. This is the above view. It stands up really nicely. And there you go. Congratulations. You've made a Pete the Python. Thanks for following along. And I hope it wasn't too much of a challenge. I hope you had fun.
That was awesome. Thanks, Annette.
You're welcome. The
That's
real
super
quiz
cool.
is, can you do it again?
Oh boy.
Is there a handout?
There's no handout, but this one actually was something that I did learn from a YouTube video. So I can surely send you the link to that person.
Wait, are we recording? We're recording this, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did recording.
Yes.
That there it does exist.
So we can watch it later.
Actually, you can just scrub backward right now and just rewind to where you missed.
There you go. This Pete can now join my pack of multiple Pete's. Well, this Pete is a little straight. He's had some tough times there. This is where I learned that diamond fold technique where it's like, okay, it's a lot easier if you do
Strung out
that.
Pete.
Yeah. And my construction paper Pete, who was a lot firmer.
He's had a rough life.
But there you go. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad everyone participated. It's really exciting to see everyone actually make it through. Think about it. This is your first time. I've had a couple times to practice.
There's some tight folds, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that thing? What's the maximum number of times you can fold a piece of paper? I forget what it was. It's very low. It's like way lower than you would think.
I forget.
32 or something.
Is it even that many?
You know, I bet my kid would know. They know random stuff like that.
Yeah, kids are good for that kind of stuff. I see people posting them in the after event socials channel. Nice.
Check those out.
I
Oh,
like
actually-
whoever, oh, Mario. I like that you've got him with your Python and you have your foil one too.
Nice.
I did them simultaneously because I didn't have faith in the foil.
Okay.
But it came out okay. It's not too bad.
Yeah, your foil one looks pretty good.
I want to know.
Maybe
Jude
you are
said
an
7.
advanced specimen of origami-ness.
It's made some origami.
Oh, I thought you meant like in tab.
No.
Coolest talk so far. Agreed. Yeah, so for those of you who didn't know, there's probably about another 40 people who are watching on the live stream.
Hello.
So it's not just the few of us who are here. That looks really cool, Annette, with the virtual background like that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It
This
worked out
is-
really well.
It worked out super well on my green craft mat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really nice Python, Lance.
Thanks. I got to use some of my fancy fountain pen ink to make these
Oh, yeah.
eyes that you probably can't see, but they're sparkly
No, I
gold.
can see them. It's so
Nice.
cute.
It's super cool.
Try this.
Let's see this. I saw it in the picture of it.
I love
Nice.
how many people went for the fancy eyes. I really appreciate it.
I mean, when the teacher teaches you,
Yeah.
I don't have a pen in my office anywhere.
Oh,
Literally.
what a disappointment.
I've got like
I
400
just have an
of them.
Apple Pencil and it won't write.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably have 40 pens, but 2 actually work. It's just sentimental value at this point.
Right. I've started throwing some pens away, like upstairs on my other desk. Like I was writing a card, which I never
Yes.
do. And I was like, that pen's no good. That pen doesn't feel good. That pen, nope. Did them
See, I'm
out.
always this pen, but the shaft is so nice. If only I could get a refill.